You should do this today if you want to win on YouTube in 2025. And the reason why I have Discord pulled up is this is my private Discord, and this is exactly how you can scale your channel. I'm not saying join my Discord, but I'm saying copy exactly what I've done here by creating a like-minded group of individuals that will push you forward and inspire you and help you get better. This is my Discord. I have quite literally the top strategists in the world here. Guys that are on Mr. Beast's team, guys that are on basically all the top teams, us with Mike Shake, and many others. Most of the guys that you follow on Twitter are in here. And there's a reason for that, because they're the best in the world, and I want to be surrounded by the best in the world so I can become even better. I made a tweet about this recently that, the reason why I'm pretty good at what I do is all I do is I learn from these guys, and then I test what they have to say religiously to see if it makes sense within my client portfolio or if there's, anything useful. For a great example, Leroy Turbach here, good friend of ours, one of like the founding members of the Discord, has a fantastic worldview when it comes to YouTube, which is you should use your unique advantages. Famously, he did this with Daniel Baton, where Daniel Baton is this like younger guy. He's talking about how to make money online, and it's like leaning into the fact that your age, like 17, 18, 16, in some cases, when he was a little bit younger, you should really leverage that to come up with your ideas, titles, and thumbnails. Now that's not something I would have done. I would have like looked at outliers. I would have tried to focus on presence of mind, but because of Leroy's specific worldview, it made a lot of sense. And now I use that same principle that Leroy taught to me to use it in my own client, in my own portfolio. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is you can do this. You can do this today. You can get 5 friends and you can create a Discord or a community or a group chat and just get better. And there's a famous kind of story by Mr. Beast where he's talking about, for like the better part of a year, maybe 2 years, he just locked himself in a room and learned YouTube over Skype call with 3 or 4 other guys. And now all those guys had million subscriber YouTube channels. And then eventually Mr. Beast went on to be like the best of the best. And that's essentially what this Discord is, right? It's in the hopes of recreating that. And I call this the Tron principle. If you don't know Tron, I'm going to give you TLDR. It's a movie. It's really good. One of my favorite movies of all time. And what happens is in Tron, they create like a program, but from the program, like new life emerges. Essentially what you're doing here is you're creating a group chat or a system to get better and to learn from others. And from there, new ideas will spout up and you will get better. That's the idea. And behind it, it's helped me tremendously. I've come up with unbelievably good videos because of that. We have like long lengthy discussions here. If I go to like, let's say the YouTube discussion channel, we talk about like packaging. We talk about, what's going on, why things are good or not good here. And all this is fine. I'm sure I can post this. But yeah, we go like super in depth as like to why things are working, why things are not working. We have like, let's say a feedback channel as well. We talk about like our specific feedbacks, right? We also have a wins and losses channel to like, celebrate our wins and, be like, okay, here's our losses. Here's what happened, right? But yeah, like some of the top guys, like people on Alex Ramosey's team are in here talking about it, being like, okay, what do you think we could have done better retrospectively, right? Or like, what do you guys think of this strategy? People like, Ed Film Booth, creator booth, he's like, here's what I'm finding working in the market for me and my creators, right? And then I can go in and be like, this is what's working for me and my creators. There are paid communities that do this, and while I would say, hey, invest in yourself, you can do this, and I would know because if I go here to let's open up some Opera GX, I can open up YouTube. This is the literal exact thing. Before I did this, I ran another little kind of group. It was like us and some guys in the Siege community, and that is how I helped my best friend Shock get 400,000 subscribers. Is me and him every single day would talk about YouTube, and I would be like, okay, this is like working right now for me when I had like 1,000 subscribers and he had like like 15,000 subscribers. And eventually I ran Astralis R6. Astralis R6. I'm gonna bring this up here. And what would happen is, I was running this channel and he was running the Shock channel. And back when I was running it like 4, 5, 6 years ago, I was like, okay, this is working for me. This is what's working for him. And we were able to basically get way better because instead of like, me uploading 100 videos, if we both upload 50 videos, that's still 100 videos of learning. So instead of saying like, if we did a video a day, like that's going to take 100 days if you're by yourself. But if it's 2 people, it takes 50 days. If it's 4 people, now it takes 25 days. If it's 5 people, it takes like way less time. It's 20 days to get 100 videos you're doing daily uploads. And imagine if you have that and there's no ego involved and all you're doing is just trying to get better at the sport of YouTube and the game of YouTube and trying to win. It's very hard to fail. And during this period of time, I grew Astralis R6 to over 200,000 subscribers from like 70. I also grew Garfield is Doc. I was helping him grow at this specific time from 20,000 subscribers, give or take, up to around 120,000. I also helped Atheno at this time go from about, again, 20,000 to like 150,000 in this case. And all this was because all I did was I was in group chats with all these guys, and I was working with them. They were uploading stuff on their own, and we were just getting better and better and better in sharing information, and just doing it their own way. And it worked out really, really well. Now I've recreated that with, the top end guys in the world in a multitude of instances where we talk about like what's working on Twitter, what's going on in terms of like, banger videos. Like we post like videos that we really like and we're like, okay, like, these videos are really good. Here's why they're really good, right? Or like, here's what we can learn from them. Then we can talk about like viral packaging where it's like, these are the thumbnail concepts right now that we're looking at specifically to figure out, what's going to happen in the market. And because there are 50 of us in here, and if all of us post, like, we're not posting once a day, for example, but if all of us posted once a day, that's 50 potential thumbnails that could inspire us, where it's like, let's say someone here from, the business niche, or like in this case, the religion niche, like post something, like, oh, I could use that here. And yeah, you can look at it, you can figure out like what's going on. So yeah, I think it's really useful. We talk about shorts in here. We talk about outlier formats. We talk about viral vectors. We talk about all these like specific things that work on YouTube. And that helps us all get way, way, way better. And the reason why I'm talking about this to you is because I think this is something that you should do. Now, you see a lot of these guys have like paid accelerators, and the paid accelerators are cool, and you learn and you network. It's fine. But if you are truly passionate about YouTube and you want to win on YouTube, definitively, absolutely win on YouTube, the best way to go about doing that, I think, is creating a like-minded community of passionate people where they just join for free, right? And I want to give my advice on everything that I've learned over like the 5 or 6 years of doing YouTube and having these communities I've been part of and I've made. Is you want to keep it kind of limited. Now, this is probably the biggest community or the biggest size that my Discord's going to get, the Wi-Fi Money Mafia. It's around 50 people. That's where people feel comfortable posting things, number one. And then, yeah, so yeah, that's kind of how it is. So I would recommend doing this. At most, I would be like, let's say if I'm a creator and I have 3 or 4 or 5 friends in that space, that's it. Like, you don't really want to go more than 5 people in one niche, because then what happens is you start cannibalizing each other's ideas, content, and learnings, and it becomes less effective. So 5 people in one niche max, and then in total, probably around 10 to 15. I think the sweet spot is probably honestly around like 8 to 12. If you are just starting out, if you're a YouTuber less than 100,000 subscribers, just because then if you do that, let's say you have 5 guys in one niche and then, another 7 in other niches, be really useful. Or like 2 guys in one niche, 2 guys in another niche. And you want them to be either similar niches or just massively different. But I would really recommend probably around 5. Like 5 for sure is like probably the minimum. Maybe get away with 3 if you're all in different niches. But yeah, 5 is really good. 12 is pretty good. After 12, what can happen is like there are going to be some people that are non-contributors. So something that I've kind of built into all my communities that I've ran over the years from learning is that if you don't post in the community and you don't provide value and feedback and or spur up discussion, you get removed, because if you're not contributing to the community, the likelihood is that you're probably taking more than you're giving. And that's a net negative, because you're not supplying anyone information, but you're getting all the benefits of the learnings, which is not very good. So yeah, try to keep around like 12 people, maybe max. If someone doesn't post or engage for some for reason, I would just remove them from the community. You can still be friends with them, just remove them from the community. I've done that in the past, and I find it very useful to quality control. And then outside of that, it is really leveraging it as much as possible. Like in Wi-Fi Money Mafia, I'll post multiple times a day in multiple different chats. So like I'll be like, okay, like this is a really cool channel, right? So I'll be doing research for a client. I'm like, this is a great video, or this is like an interesting like concept. So I condense those learnings down into this, and then people are like, oh, this is what I'm seeing actually, or this is what I'm seeing, which is really great. It's a really great way to grow really fast. And I know people have talked about it in the past, like Mr. Beast, and it's like one of the only good pieces of advice I think Mr. Beast says as a given that I can like, co-sign very easily, is create a dedicated community with like-minded people to help grow faster, answer questions, solve problems. And if like you have a problem, like here's like the solution, right? Or if someone has a question that you've already answered, give them the solution and explain why the solution works. Another thing that's really useful in these communities is the quality of response that you give, right? So for example, there have been questions in here, and I have to scroll up like 6 months, but like I'll do like a 2,000 word response, and then someone else will be like, okay, here's like a 2,000 word response, but here's also like empirical data from my client set that like backs it up, right? So the better the response, the better it is. And always explaining like the rationale and intention behind things as well, as I think is super useful. And just going as super in depth. Like the more in depth you go, the better the answer that you can usually get from members of the communities that you make. If I ask you like, what color of the sky, you'd be like, okay, it's blue. And I ask you why, I'm like, I don't know. But if you give me like, super in depth, like things like, okay, like here's like XYZ, or XYZ is happening, you can get way better responses. So I even follow that on Twitter, where it's like, hey, if you're gonna ask me a question, ask me like the question with the most amount of details possible, so I can have a kind of full comprehensive scope as to things are working. Yeah, and then I think another really good thing that I'll kind of leave on here is that you might get answers from the community that you disagree with, right? That's the whole point of having this, is that you can get differing viewpoints and opinions. And you can also accelerate your growing because you don't have to do one set of work by yourself. So yeah, that is something I would recommend. And then I'd also recommend testing everything. Like, let's say if person A gives you an answer and person B gives you another answer, test both those answers and figure out what works for you. Because what works for someone else might not work for you, but doesn't mean they're wrong. So you can always add that information to your repertoire, because every case on YouTube is going to be different. There's a lot of similarities, and roughly YouTube is probably all 80% the same. There's like those 20% nuances, or there's 20% difference that it requires nuance to understand, where it's like, person A said this, but person B said this. But when I tested both of them, only person A was right. So person B must be wrong. That's incorrect. And I really want to hammer that home, is it requires you to understand how to think in the first place. Well, person B is not wrong. Person B's methodology or answer did not make sense within what you're trying to do. And I think if you understand that and you go into that mindset with having a community like this, you will be way better off. And I've seen that time and time again, where like we are the top strategists in the world, right? I have all these plaques between us. There's probably, I think 80 plaques in total, where it's like, if I have a guy like telling me, okay, this is wrong, this doesn't work, that's his point of view, right? And if I test it and I'm like, okay, it does work, right? So it is worth testing. It's worth figuring it out. It's also worth understanding, where like everyone here is like, no, we don't really care if one person's wrong or the other. We're just like, hey, this is wrong based on this, right? And like we just had like an in-depth discussion on a bunch of like new channels that are like doing Dodford style content. Like Dodford style content is great, but Dodford's packaging is almost always lackluster, and it's almost always, in my opinion, a hindrance. And while some people like agreed with me, other people are like, okay, well, no, like his artistic vision like actually might be better because it goes against the grain of YouTube commonality. So therefore, it's creating interest. I disagree with that, but like we can have that discussion. We can like figure out like, okay, like maybe there's some truth in the middle there, where it's like a little bit of both. But yeah, I thought I'd just make this video. I think it's really interesting. Goal: one piece of content a day. I think this is an easy like piece of content to do. I also think it's really important. I get asked if pretty much like weekly on Twitter, how I got good at strategy. And this is one of those. Like I really leveled up a lot in 2024 because I created this Discord in 2023. At the end of 2023, I created this Discord, and after a full year of using it and like hundreds of thousands of messages like combined between all of us, like we've gotten like, I think, all better. I think we've all learned a lot, and yeah, it's fun to learn. And it's also how you get good fast. So yeah, recommend doing this. I'm not gonna give access to this Discord, but in the future, I might have something for people that are interested when it comes to this Discord, and maybe a potential, paid offer for something similar. But yeah, if you want to do this, I recommend starting your own. Try to get 5 to like 12 people, and make sure you post every day. The Discord dies if you're not using it every day. If you don't use it every day, and you don't enforce the fact that if you don't like post like once a week, if it's a smaller group, you get removed, it's not worth it. Constant upkeep and caring. And I've gotten to the point now where I don't think I'd be able to do this again. This Discord is self-sufficient. If like I got hit by an asteroid, this Discord would keep working. People would still post even with me not posting. Like the first 3 weeks to 3 months of this Discord, like initially really the first month really hard. I had to post like 10 times a day in every channel, so people would like organically start responding because they would see the value. And if it's you and your friends, you probably won't have to do that. And when I had this like first iteration of this, like way before Wi-Fi Money Mafia, which is me, my friends in Siege, we'd all organically post a day because we were so passionate about it, and we were also stuck inside due to COVID. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope you can create a system very similar to this, a group very similar to this with like-minded people, and I hope you can grow incredibly fast because of it. And you can be like, oh man, that Vexing guy helped me out, and showing me a free way to get better. But yeah, quick little video today. I hope it is helpful. It has been extremely helpful for me, and helped me, really getting to the point where I'm at. And I hope it'll help you as well.